Call to order the second meeting of Marion City Council, January 13th, 2020. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Craig Moe. Also, we're going to have the national anthem. So please stand and remain standing until we have to. Please remain standing, please. We call Reverend Sheila McGilton from St. Philip Episcopal Church for the invocation, please.
Start over. Okay. Thank you for inviting me this evening, and I would like to begin with two prayers. If you are Episcopalian or Roman Catholic or other liturgical traditions, you will know that the response to the Lord be with you is and also with you. And so I would like, with your indulgence, to pray two prayers, one of which is in our Book of Common Prayer. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Thank you, O Lord, for this day you have given us, for the grace and mercy, for the love and charity that you bestow upon all these your children, of every race and nation and color, size, and age. I ask that you be with governing officials of this city. They would govern with wisdom, discernment, on behalf of all of the children they represent. We remember this night those who sleep in the streets and those children who go to bed hungry this night for whatever reason. Be with them and give us hearts to reach out and be your face to them. We ask in your name. And this prayer is particularly for our country. Almighty God, who has given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties, and fashion into one united people the multitudes brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. Endue with the spirit of wisdom those to whom in thy name we trust the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to thy law we may show forth thy praise among the nations of the earth. In the time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in thee to fail. All this we ask in your holy name, who goes by many names. Amen.
Good evening again and Happy New Year. We're going to do a couple of things first. We're going to take care of some city council business, and then we're going to turn the sermon over to yeah, I know, I am. I was just, okay. All right. Okay, at this time, we have the Lower High School lead us into a musical presentation, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. All right. My name is celebrate. So we're going to be led by one of our men. One, two, ready, and.
I'm not worried about a thing, 'cause I know you are guiding me. Where you lead me, Lord, I will go. I have no fear, 'cause I know who's in control.
What you can do, 'cause it all belongs to you. It all belongs to you.
No rushing out.
You're almighty and all powerful, and it all belongs to you. It all belongs to you. When Jesus
Say yes,
nobody
can't say no.
When Jesus
Say yes,
nobody
Let's get the Laurel High School Choir another hand, please. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Miss Nicholas,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Mr. DeWalt,
Here.
Mr. Les,
Here.
President Sidnor,
Here.
Mayor Mel.
Approval of the minutes for the 42nd meeting of November 25th, 2019. I have a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for the previous meeting, please.
Thank you, Mr. DeWalt. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any discussions? Madam Clerk, please call for vote.
Mr. DeWalt,
Here, yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Nicholas,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
President Sidnor.
Yes. Okay, approval of the minutes for the first meeting of November 25th, 2019. Have a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilman Nicholas.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Blas. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call for vote, please.
Miss Nicholas,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
President Sidnor.
Yes. Okay, approval of the minutes for closed session on January the 8th, 2020. I have a motion.
Mr. President, I move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Lass. Have a second?
Second. A second.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Madam Clerk, call for a vote.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Miss Nicholas,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
President Sidnor.
Yes. Okay, approval of the work session for January the 8th, 2020. I have a motion. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Councilman Nicholas.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Lass. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call for a vote, please.
Miss Nicholas,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
President Sidnor.
Yes. At this time, we'll start with Ms. Nicholas first.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy holidays. That choir was wonderful. Can we give them another applaud? I just wanted to remind everybody that it's flu season, and to reduce the spread of germs, hand hygiene is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Nicholas. Mr. Smith.
I met with the Education Advisory Committee, and we just talked about some proposals possibly for school grants and also how can we assist the parents and the schools in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. DeWalt.
Good evening, everybody. The mayor wants me to keep this brief, but I'm going to have a hard time doing that. I'll try. It's an honor and a privilege to speak to so many people on this historic occasion. Happy 150th birthday, Laurel. The month of December was truly a month of giving and a very, very, very busy month for me. I belong to a new group called Laurel for the Patuxent River. It's fairly new. Their main focus is sustainability in the city of Laurel. We've picked up a lot of litter. We cut vines from trees along the river so that they can be healthier and the vines don't choke them out. We also learn a lot about stormwater management. And also, because of this philosophy of sustainability, the city has now adopted an organic recycling program citywide, which I am a member of that and proud to be. Participated in a Reefs Across America up at Hy-Vee Hill, where we laid reefs on 320 veterans. Participated in the Laurel Lions Christmas tree sale over at Laurel Shopping Center, first year in 2 years that they've had trees there. And all their proceeds go back into the Laurel community. I and a few of my friends were the judges for the City of Laurel Holiday Decoration Awards. There was 10 awards given out. And they were just fabulous. I put like a couple little lights on my house, and that's about it. But one of the houses in Ward 2 actually came out, and they were so proud of all their pretty decorations, and they told me that the whole house was solar power. I know Brian likes that. I also participated in the annual fundraiser at Oliver's Old Town Tavern for Lars. It was a huge success in fundraising. We provided 2 families, one mom and 4 kids, and one mom and 1 kid with Christmas gifts. I also provide transportation for the Laurel Cats in delivering food. Laurel's 150th anniversary. I would like to thank all the ambassadors for all their hard work and dedication to make this year very, very special. I would also have a special thanks to Mitzi Bettman, who's the chair. Her dedication and hard work is unsurpassed community service to the citizens of Laurel. I would like to mention 3 really good friends of mine, the Laurel History Boys. They are publishing the 150th anniversary history book about the city. I got to see it a couple weeks ago, parts of it anyway, and it looks absolutely fabulous with a lot of old pictures, and it's supposed to be published and ready for review in March. One other thing, we had a business owner on Christmas Eve that was struck by a speeding, reckless motorist. If you come into our city, please drive 25. If you don't, we hope you get a ticket. There's no other way to say it. We have a very, very severe speeding problem from people coming into our city that we need to rectify. This gentleman almost lost his life. Laurel Council President Keith Sidnor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. DeWalt. Mr. Lass?
Thank you, Mr. President. As my colleague indicated, the Friends of the Patuxent River met a couple of weeks ago. There was 2 council members and the mayor at that meeting, and it was a very, very good meeting talking about sustainability. I want to mention, you may have seen the earthquakes in Puerto Rico. I have a special place in my heart for people in Puerto Rico, as I had 60 members of my last organization reside in Puerto Rico and 700 Internal Revenue employees. And these earthquakes on top of the hurricane of last year, some of my members still don't have running water. And I'll mention that we need to keep them in our prayers. On the 8th of January, I attended the COG Council of Governments Board of Directors meeting in Washington. Also attended the Patuxent River Commission meeting in Annapolis. We had a very good presentation from the WSSC lab on the issue of blue-green algae, which turns out is really not an algae, it's a bacteria. And our own Steve Allen gave a briefing on his efforts as regards the improvement of the Patuxent River, not just in the city of Laurel, but for the whole non-tidal area. We talked about the sensors that are going to be placed all the way down to the tidal area, which is about 37 miles downstream. You heard my colleague mentioning the speeding. It turns out that where that business person was hit is on the downhill slide, as I say, from Howard County. And I know Laurel policemen and Howard County policemen have been out there on many an occasion giving tickets for speeding. And unfortunately, they start at the top of the hill up near the bottom of the bay and just come roaring down that hill. The last thing I want to mention is 100 years anniversary of the city of Laurel was when I came back to Laurel. My wife told me she'd give me some roots here, and she'd been trying for 50 years. But more importantly, I got occasion to meet Ted Metzger. And Ted Metzger, on his own, went ahead and developed the coat of arms for the city of Laurel as part of that 100th celebration. And I'd be derelict if I didn't remember Ted Metzger and many other people that participated in the 100th. And we'll see an equal, if not better, representation of our citizens in the 150th. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Glass. Good evening again. Once again, I got a couple of announcements coming up on January the 15th. That's Wednesday. We're having a job fair at the Robert P. Community Center. We got 47 employees confirmed to attend the job fair, from high-tech jobs to top secret security clearances, and also to roofing and commercial flooring. The roofing and commercial flooring company, you don't have to have any experience. They'll train you on the job. I talked to one of the recruiters there. So please come out, tell some friends and family who's unemployed that the 15th of January, this Wednesday, on Martin Luther King's birthday. And the reason we chose the 15th of January to do the job fair because of Dr. King's birthday. You know, his last fight was for labor down in Memphis, Tennessee. We always want to encourage our citizens in Laurel surrounding area about employment and things of that nature. Also celebrating Dr. King's birthday as well. On the 20th, we're having a day of community service here at the Laurel Municipal Center from 11 o'clock. Then we're going to go off to the Laurel Lake Senior Citizen Apartments. We're going to just thank the senior citizens for laying the foundation down for us. So we're going to be there from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The address is 7901 Laurel Lakes Court. So high school students, middle school students, you need community service hours, you come out there. We're going to fellowship with the senior citizens, probably play some board games, you know, anything like that, just to acknowledge them. Sometimes that we forget about our seniors. You know, they laid the foundation for us, and we got to keep respecting them. So we're going to honor them on the 11th. That's all I have for this report. I can turn over to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me first acknowledge and thank all of you all for attending tonight and those that may be watching. Tonight is really about you. It's not about the mayor and city council. We do a lot of different things, and you've heard that under the reports, but tonight is really all about you and the community. I want to thank all of the ambassadors that are here. You'll see them in their yellow vests with 150 years on it. Told them they got to keep them and change the patch later on when we celebrate 175. But I want to thank former mayors that are here, our former council members, elected officials that are here that took the time to be here. This is an important kickoff event. The committee, the all-volunteer committee, citizens, business people, a lot of the historical members, really put this thing together, and we want to thank them. There's something for everybody for the next year. So again, I want to thank all of you all, and this is really about you all. But I would like to do one thing that tonight I'm going to read from the minutes of the first Board of Commissioners. We used to be a commissioner form of government, and we are now a strong mayor form of council, strong mayor and council government. So you can see where we were and where we are. I'd like to share at each of the meetings for the next year some of the minutes from these board meetings throughout the year under my report, Mr. President. So on Laurel, on April the 14th, 1870, the Laurel Board of Commissioners of the town of Laurel elected in pursuant of an act passed by the General Assembly of the State of Maryland at the January session in 1870 entitled An Act Incorporating the Town of Laurel, met at local attorney's office. The said board comprised of the following gentlemen per certification of the clerk of the circuit court for Prince George's County, to wit, James Curley, George W. Kellogg, Joseph A. Minto, James A. Talbert, and Edward J. Phelps. On a motion by James Curley, who was unanimously elected president of the board. James B. Smallwood was elected clerk. James Dodge, the collector, I guess that was the collector came around and took taxes. James W. Whiteside was the treasurer, and John P. Edmonston was the assessor and surveyor. at the meeting of the board, which I think is very interesting. They approved the amount of security, which today we call bonding our treasurer or bonding our financial people, but they bonded at a $500 required for the treasurer and the bailiff and the clerk and for the assessor, and $1,000 for the collector. I wish we had those that we were paying for now these days, but it definitely changed. Thank you again, and we hope you enjoy this evening. And again, we appreciate everybody really coming out and being with us tonight for our kickoff. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to make 2 appointments real quick, and Charles Claiborne for the Arts Council, and Patrick Davis, who is with us as one of the ambassadors to Historical District Commission. I'd ask for your approval.
Council, call for a motion.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of the mayor's appointments to the Laurel Arts Council and the Historic District Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Last. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Madam Clerk, can you take a vote?
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Miss Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
President Sidnor?
Yes.
That concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Continuing our agenda, general public hearing. A member of the public are asked to sign the speaker list at the back of the council chambers. Council President called the speaker from the sign-in sheet. Each speaker is asked to give their name and address for the record. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Open the public hearing at 6:29. I see no one here to speak. Anyone wish to speak? I close the public hearing at 6:29. Okay, agenda number 6, introduction of the first public hearing, resolution number 1/2020, a resolution to approve the amend the standard rules of the Laurel City Council. I read the title resolution number 1/220 into the record for the first hearing reading. Open the public hearing at 6:30. Close the public hearing at 6:30. The second public hearing with possible action is scheduled for the Mayor and City Council meeting on Monday, January 27, 2020 at 7 p.m. Number B, introduction of first public hearing resolution number 220-220, a resolution to approve an agreement to allow for the placement of small wireless facilities. I read the title of resolution number 220 into the record for the first hearing. Open the public hearing at 6:30. I close the public hearing at 6:30. A second public hearing with possible action is scheduled for the Mayor and City Council meeting on Monday, January 27, 2020 at 7 p.m. Okay. At this time, I'll call the Honorable Gail Snyder, former Laurel Council member and president. She's going to come over and take over the meeting and go over the 150th anniversary agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, President Sidnor. Well, happy anniversary, Laurel. Glad you all could come out. I'd like to welcome you here tonight to begin our great 150th celebration. Tonight is the kickoff event, and we have lots of information to share with you about our year-long celebration. But first, I would like to thank our color guard from the Laurel Police Department and Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, Reverend Dr. Sheila McGilton, and the Laurel High School Choir for the wonderful opening ceremony. I would also like to introduce some of our distinguished guests. Would you please stand if you can when I call your name? Howard County Executive, Dr. Calvin Ball. State's Attorney for Prince George's County, Aisha Braveboy. County Council Member, Tom Dernoga. Former Mayor, Robert J. DePietro. Former Mayor, Joseph R. Robison. Former Laurel City Council President, Donna Crary. Former Laurel City Council President James E. Cross III. Former Laurel City Council Member Reginald Parks. Former Laurel City Council President Edward Ricks. Former Laurel City Council President Frederick Smalls. Former Laurel City Council Member Rick Wilson. And I'd also like to introduce my friend, Executive Director Scott Hancock from the Maryland Municipal League. And finally, and most importantly, Elizabeth Compton. Were it not for this beautiful lady, we would not know nor appreciate our wonderful history and have our beautiful museum. And we would not be here tonight to celebrate it. Because of her vision, dedication, and many years of hard work, she opened our eyes to all that we have here in Laurel, and we are so thankful for that. I would also like to recognize and thank our generous sponsors, American Legion Post 60, Strit Matter Incorporated, Rocky Gorge Animal Hospital, and Insulators Local 24. The Anniversary Committee is still accepting donations to support this year's events, so please check the website for additional information. And now I'd like to call on Audrey Barnes, Director of the Department of Communications, to give you a short overview of the anniversary events. Audrey?
As the mayor said, we are thrilled to have every one of these seats filled out here as we celebrate Laurel's 150th anniversary. What a great night and the beginning of a really great year-long celebration. You know, there are so many things to celebrate about Laurel that we couldn't just have one event, give you a piece of cake and send you home. We have planned 36 events that will take you from January to December of 2020, and we hope you guys can get to every last one of them. Every month we'll have a different theme throughout the year. And I've asked a couple people just to kind of stand up and help me with this when I say the name of their theme. For example, in February, Laurel is historic. So I want you to make sure you think about that. If you like things around history, that's your month. You're going to have lots of things to do in February. Laurel is inquisitive in March. So naturally, the Laurel Library, and I see Karen back there, the Laurel Library has some really neat things planned for March. The biggest one is they are hosting a citywide scavenger hunt that's going to take you from one side of Laurel to the other. Places you never thought were here, that you never knew about. That's coming up for you in March. In April, Laurel is green. Laurel is green in April. Now, our actual anniversary is April 4th of 2020. So the Laurel Historical Society is holding a sesquicentennial soiree. Can you guys say that? Sesquicentennial soiree. All right, so that's going to be something that's coming up in April when Laurel is green. Laurel is festivals in May, so we know you guys will all be planning to go to the Main Street Festival this year. It's going to be extra special because we are celebrating our 150th anniversary. Laurel is playful in June, and they have a ton of events planned for you in June. Laurel's playful. So is Bob Mignon back there in the corner. Thank you for that, Bob. We appreciate that. And if you know anything about Laurel, you know that in July, Laurel is patriotic. So plan on being at our 4th of July festivities this year. They will be bigger and better than ever. ever. In August, Laurel is entertaining. So you'll be able to take in an outdoor movie put on by our Department of Parks and Recreations. The Laurel Board of Trade has its back to school event. So that's all happening in August. Now, in September, Laurel is inclusive. And this is the one I'm so proud of. Who's got my inclusive sign? Yes. Laurel is inclusive, and on September 26th of 2020, Laurel will be holding its first ever multicultural festival. We are going to celebrate all the places that people who live in Laurel now hail from, and we're going to have a parade of nations. The children will be dressed up in costumes from their homes. All the big events are happening at Emancipation Park and McCullough Field. It is going to be fantastic. The actual name of that event is Celebrate Laurel Today, a 150th birthday bash. So you'll definitely want to save that date, September 26th. Plan to be there for Celebrate Laurel Today. It is going to be fantastic. Now, as we move on to April, Laurel is creative. Of course we are. We're very creative. And we have found October, Laurel is creative. Yes. And we found a very creative place to bury our time capsule this year and some very creative things to put in it. So you'll want to keep your eye open. It's all in the passport book for you to come and see what's happening in October. And then, of course, in November, Laurel's thankful. So we have some things, including a big food drive for Lars that we're going to do in November. And in December, Laurel is home. And this is home for all of us. And we love being here. So we're going to celebrate it. So can everybody stand up and just see, look at all the themes that we have for you. Everybody who has a little sign. These are all the things that we're going to be celebrating about Laurel this year. It's going to be a fantastic year filled with lots of fun. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Thank you, helpers. A couple of things I wanted to point out to everybody who's here tonight. Do not leave here without your event guide, because this event guide is the key to all 36 of those events that will be happening all over the city. We put the dates, the times, the locations. We even have a map to kind of guide you throughout the city, maneuver your way around. So definitely do not leave here without your event guide tonight. But really, the center of our whole year-long celebration is this specially designed anniversary passport. Every event that we planned is in here, all 36 of them. And this is going to be such a great keepsake. You cannot have mine. But as you go to these different events, you will meet some of our ambassadors in their yellow vests, and they will stamp those events for you. And those who attend the most events by the end of the year will be eligible for some really, really great prizes. So make sure you get your anniversary passport and then attend our events. Get your passport stamped, and you'll be eligible for those prizes at the end of the year. And when you arrive tonight, and I think the mayor has also mentioned the anniversary ambassadors, all you anniversary ambassadors, stand up and be recognized tonight. These are the friendly faces, some of them. Yes. And we had a meeting last week, and there was probably about 5 times that many. You'll see these ambassadors at every event. They'll have a table set up to stamp your passports for you, give you information and things like that, and just be greeters for you. So you can look for them as the friendly faces at our different events. Now, here's what you really need to know. The very first passport event where you can get your passport book stamped is February 2nd at the Laurel History Museum. They are opening their fabulous exhibit. It's called Unpacking Laurel's Past, 150 years on display. So plan to be there for opening night, but don't worry if you can't, because that event runs all year. Is that correct? And it runs all year. So you can get in there, but it'll be fun to be there on opening night. That's February 2nd. That's the first day you can get an official passport stamp. So our theme, our overall motto for this year is we're celebrating Laurel's past. We're also going to celebrate the progress that we made. And then we're going to look forward to the future, a promise of the future. So enjoy it. If there's anything we can do, if you need any information, our anniversary website is 150.cityoflaurel.org. It is packed with information. And we want to give a special thanks to our webmaster, James Cornwell Shield. He did a fabulous job building that website from scratch. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't forget to get your This is called an event guide. You want to have one of those, and you especially want to get your anniversary passport. Enjoy.
The next item on the agenda is proclamations and presentations, and I'd like to call on Howard County Executive Dr. Calvin Ball. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. Wait a minute, there's more people in here than that. Good evening, everybody. It is quite an honor to be here. I want to first of all thank everyone for their hospitality and flexibility. Wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it tonight, but I left my last thing early and I'm going to my next thing late because it's that important. Howard County has a history of working with the city of Laurel on so many things, whether it's public safety, like we still have some more work to do, environmental sustainability, and so many other things. And before I was county executive, I was on the county council for almost 13 years. So I've had the honor of working with some of the former electeds in the room, and it's so good to see some of my friends. And I just wanted to briefly come by and read a certificate of recognition from all of your friends and neighbors in Howard County. And it reads, to celebrate 150 years since the founding of Laurel, Maryland, this certificate is hereby presented on this 13th day of January 2020 to acknowledge the city of Laurel's 150th anniversary. Since its incorporation by the Maryland General Assembly in 1870, Laurel has demonstrated its resilience, independence, and strength as a community of hardworking and dedicated people. We are proud of our history and partnership with the leadership and residents of Laurel. We look forward to many years of ongoing collaboration. Howard County joins Mayor Craig Moe and the City Council in honoring the traditions of this community and wishing Laurel a meaningful and prosperous anniversary year. Happy birthday, everybody.
Honorable Fred Smalls will make a presentation from the Office of Governor Lawrence J. Hogan.
County Executive, you're a hard act to follow. I don't think I'll be quite as animated, but I am here tonight and I'm honored, Mayor, council members. It's interesting to be on this side of the dais after 17 years sitting up there. But I'm here tonight representing our governor and presenting the city of Laurel with a citation, with a proclamation rather. Yeah, it's in the mail, Mayor. It's in the mail. It reads as such: the state of Maryland. Probably if I put my glasses on, I wouldn't make such blunders. Governor of the state of Maryland, to the city of Laurel, greetings. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of a special celebration to kick off the city of Laurel's 150th anniversary festivities, the beginning of a year-long series of Laurel Is events commemorating the past history, ongoing progress, and promising future of the Jewel of the Patuxent. And as our citizens join in expressing our congratulations and sincerest best wishes for a rewarding and memorable experience for all, we are pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation, given under the hand and by the Great Seal of the State of Maryland, this 13th day of January 2020. Signed by Governor Larry Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, and Secretary of State John Wobensmith.
Ariana Sorto from the Maryland House of Delegates, District 21.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Sorto, and I am a proud resident of Laurel. And it's an honor to be here. I work as community liaison for Senator Jim and the 21st District delegation, so you might have seen me around the community. So I'm honored here to be with you guys to present an official citation, proclamation from the Maryland General Assembly, which I'll read right now. Be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to the City of Laurel in recognition of its dedication to serving the needs of our community for the past 150 years. We express our deepest admiration for achieving this milestone presented on this day, 13th of January of 2020, by Senator Jim, Delegate Ben Barnes, Delegate Mary Lehman, and Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick. They send their hellos. They're currently in session right now. So they regret not being here, but I'm here. So thank you for inviting us, and it's an honor.
Juwan Blocker from the Office of Comptroller Peter Francho.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Everybody's good. Happy birthday. All right. Mayor, City Council, it's an honor to be here. My name is Juwan Blocker. I serve as a special assistant to Maryland State Comptroller Peter Francho, and I am happy to present a proclamation on his behalf, and it reads, "Be it hereby known to all that this certificate of recognition is presented to the Mayor and City Council of Lower Maryland on the occasion of your 150th anniversary of incorporation as the City of Lower Maryland, with special appreciation for the rich historical, cultural, and economic value of your city, for your unwavering commitment to your community and future generations, and for being an integral asset to Prince George's County and the great state of Maryland. Best wishes for continued prosperity and growth in the many years ahead." Again, the comptroller wishes you all nothing but continued prosperity and growth. He also wanted me to let you all know that he is a proud partner in anything that our office can do to support the City of Laurel. Mr. Mayor and City Council, please let us know. Again, it's an honor to be here on his behalf.
Ola Hill from the Office of County Executive Angela Alsabrook. Executive Director Scott Hancock from the Maryland Municipal League.
Don't go away, I gotta have a hug. It's so good to see you. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council of Laurel, it is my pleasure on behalf of the President of the Maryland Municipal League, the Honorable Ryan Spiegel, council member from the City of Gaithersburg, and the entire Board of Directors of the Maryland Municipal League to say happy birthday. We are really, really excited about this year. I'm here to bring a proclamation on behalf of the President and the Board of Directors, but I'm going to be here for a lot of your events because they sound like a lot of fun, Audrey. Looking forward to it. I'm not going to read this, just to say we are very, very excited to celebrate this anniversary. The City of Laurel is a very, very special member of the Maryland Municipal League. Looking out at some friends that I have known for a very, very long time. You have all been very, very much a part of the 157 cities and towns of Maryland that make up the heart of local government in this state. And I can't tell you anymore that your community, the City of Laurel, is absolutely one of the shining stars in the cities and towns of the state of Maryland out of 157. So be proud of that, and congratulations and happy birthday, Laurel.
Craig A. Moe, Mayor Craig A. Moe, and the Laurel City Council.
So I want y'all to see this. Remember what the comptroller does. It's nicely framed. I get a copy. If I could ask members of the city council to come forward. This is a proclamation by the mayor and city council. What we'd like to do is ask any of the executive committee members, the ambassadors here, please come forward as well. We'd like to acknowledge everyone. You've been part of this, so please come forward. Don't be bashful. Anybody that has a yellow vest on, you can't hide from me, so come on up. We wanted to make sure they were standing up here with the members of the city council as well, because as I said, this night is really about all the work that they have done, and it's really about the community, and that's what we're here tonight to recognize. So, Gail, I want to thank you as well for your hard work and all the work of everybody that's standing up here, and many others that are not here with us tonight. Today I have a proclamation 2020-1, whereas the city of Laurel will be celebrating its 150th anniversary of incorporation on April the 4th, 2020, kicking off the year-long celebration on January the 13th, 2020. And whereas Laurel was originally settled in the 18th or 19th century, we got to figure that one out, as Laurel Factory, and has grown from a small iron mill and factory town to a diverse, inclusive, and prosperous hometown community we enjoy today. And whereas progress through people on our city's seal, our city thrives because of our commitment to the community and maintains a small town feel in a place that is progressive, aspiring, and forward-thinking. And whereas our 150th anniversary is a significant milestone in Laurel's history and worthy of a citywide recognition and festivity, and whereas it is through its citizen engagement, involvement, and continued pride in our city that we will all come together to celebrate this milestone and continue our legacy of being the city with an unparalleled combination of hometown charm and big city amenities for the next 150 years. And whereas the city of Laurel is grateful to the many citizen volunteers, city employees, and business owners who have planned a year-long recognition of all that is Laurel is, and to celebrate its past, progress, and promise of future. Now, therefore, I, Craig A. Moe, the mayor of the city of Laurel, and we, the Laurel City Council, do hereby proclaim January the 13th, 2020 as the official kickoff of the 150th celebration in the city of Laurel. Encourage all citizens of the Laurel community to participate and enjoy each of the exciting events planned for this year. And you've heard how you can get that and be involved. And it's signed by the Laurel City Council and myself as mayor. The copy is out in the lobby. We encourage you to take a look at that. But I want to thank the council, and I want to thank the executive committee, all the volunteers and the ambassadors that are here tonight. They do an outstanding job. And Betty Compton, thank you for being here as well. I want to thank Betty as the co-founder of the museum as well. I was glad that she acknowledged you, and thank you for all you do for the city. So thank you all very much. And look at Gail already trying to get to the microphone.
I'm waiting.
I did want to make one thing clear. I know the president turned it over to you, but it is his meeting still.
I'm surprised he gave me the microphone because he knows what happens when I get near a microphone. So now, come back with me in time. 1870, Laurel Factory, 1,000 residents. The early history of the amazing progress in Laurel revealed a strong, hard-working, productive population. The area had survived trials of a civil war and the Industrial Revolution. Laurel's leadership and the populace's desire to exhibit their pride in continuing growth and development led to legislation to improve the lives of its citizens. Many events and accomplishments were taking place. The first public high school, the first public library, the first national bank in Prince George's County, all had been established. The Academy of Music and 5 beautiful churches were evidence of economic, cultural, and spiritual growth. Laurel continued to grow and prosper with an increasing population. The city of Laurel was the largest town in Prince George's County in 1888. The frequent, convenient transportation provided by our historic Baltimore and Ohio Railroad encouraged new residents who worked in Baltimore or Washington to move to a pleasant small town on the Patuxent River. Laurel citizens were calling the city Laurel, halfway city of tomorrow. The Laurel News Leader, one of the oldest newspapers in the state, listed many of the events that took place between 1887 and 1947. It included the organization of 7 civic organizations, added schools, and enlarged churches, the organization of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, the opening of the Laurel Theater. A new Laurel post office on Main Street was constructed. The Laurel Chamber of Commerce was formed. In 1932, a Silver Cup was awarded to Laurel for Best Looking Town in Prince George's and Montgomery counties in a contest for best lawns and planning. But now a depression and wars were being faced in Laurel and our country. With faith and the strengths of family and friends, life's challenges were overcome, and Laurel continued to progress. Many changes occurred in Laurel during the World War II years, as in the rest of the country. Wardens were stationed to monitor the streets after dark to be sure the blackout was followed. Restrictions on gasoline usage and driving at night were issued. High school students were taught the silhouettes of enemy and friendly airplanes to be spotters from the cupola of the high school. They took shifts after school until dark, when adults relieved them. Ladies of the churches invited soldiers from Fort Meade for Sunday dinners with their families as they awaited embarkation to Europe. Food rationing kept customers and merchants alert and frugal. Everyone was working and praying for the end of the conflict and the return of our men and women serving around the world. The need for housing for returning veterans and the addition of the National Security Agency to Fort Meade attracted new residents. Additional schools and churches were appearing. Route 95 was built. The Laurel Police Department, born in 1870, with 1 policeman on patrol, had grown to a full-service Department of Law Enforcement agency. The Laurel Rescue Squad was organized and continues to aid the citizens of Laurel. Construction of the Laurel Mall and other commercial centers gained light industrial base as well. Laurel census records through the years revealed economic data, size of households, racial makeup, and occupations. Laurel's population of 1,000 in 1870 had increased to 19,438. Laurel had changed from a factory town to a suburban city. The United States Bicentennial in 1976 was enthusiastically celebrated in Laurel with history, a festival, and horizon themes. The mayor appointed a 12-member resident committee who partnered with the City Department of Parks and Rec to plan the activities. The energy and increased interest in our local history during this busy period provided the impetus and gave rise to the formation of the Laurel Historical Society and eventually the Laurel Museum, an urban history museum to tell the history of our town and environs. The Laurel Hospital, the Stanley Memorial Library, and the Phelps Center, many Laurel schools, Laurel Cable, the business and cultural societies, and civic groups formed during this active period have individual important histories to share also. The City of Laurel Municipal Center is now housed in an attractive headquarters. Its elected and professional staff is leading the community in an environment of high technology with vision, hope, and progress in 2020. As in the past, the volunteer participants in this process can be counted on to realize and perform their civic duty with enthusiasm to help share the inevitable challenges to our beloved hometown. On a more personal note, my brother and I are one of 5 generations that lived in the house on Prince George Street. My mother would take us down Main Street to do her errands. It was a love-hate experience every time. We wanted to go because we knew we would get a treat, but it seemed like it took hours to get there. She would stop at the Cordelia Bakery, visit the Miles sisters in the 400 block, chat with Mrs. McSeany, see friends in the bank, stop in lights and block stores before we would finally get to the best part, Poland's. It was a wonderful place to grow up because of wonderful friends and neighbors. In closing, know that if you were born in Laurel, have ever lived in Laurel, worked or spent any time in Laurel, you will always be a part of Laurel. It is my hometown and yours too. The little pigtailed girl who lived on Prince George Street, who always had a skate key hanging from a shoestring around her neck and roller skates on her feet, hopes that you love Laurel as much as she does. Now, from Rome, Italy, I just have one more congratulatory message for the mayor.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Snyder, 2016 Olympic gold medalist, and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents in Laurel, and I got a lot of great memories there. My brother and I would spend the weekends at her house on Prince George's Street. We would go to movies, we'd go to Tasty Freeze and get ice cream, we'd go to playgrounds and go and visit my Uncle Bill and Aunt Mary, who lived up the street. You know, we would spend a lot of time at city events with my grandmother, Gail Snyder. We loved going to the Main Street Festival, the 4th of July celebrations, bike rodeos, Christmas parties. My grandmother would even bribe us to carry the city council banner to different parades. So these were long walks, but we always had a good time. So Laurel was a great place for us to grow up, and we always had a really good time there. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Mo for showing me his famous wrestling move. You know, I couldn't have done what I've done without him, and he reminds me of that every time I see him, so thank you, Mayor Mo. I'd also like to give a shout out to my friend Jacob Gore. He's a great young man from Laurel, and hopefully he's feeling better, and I'll continue to pray for him. And I just want to thank the Laurel citizens who supported me during my 2016 Olympic journey, and I hope you guys will be able to see me in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. So congratulations, Laurel, Maryland, on your 150th anniversary. It's a great city with great people, and I'm thankful to have spent some time there.
I love that kid. So I would like to turn the meeting over to President Sidner for adjournment, but please join us afterwards because Mayor Mo is putting on the feed bag tonight.
And once again, thank you, Councilmember President Gail Snyder. Give her a hand again, please, the history lesson. Before I adjourn, just get one more plug for the job fair we have scheduled for January the 15th for the Robert J. DePietro Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Like I said, we got 47 employees going to be there, from high-tech jobs to general labor jobs. So please tell your neighbors, or family, or friends who are looking for a job. I talked to a lot of recruiters. They say they're hiring people, so we want to get everybody employed if they can move in Laurel. In that case, the meeting adjourned. Thank you.